Thank you all. Back in early ancient Greek and Egyptian times, it was a big time of learning and scholars, and there was a lot of great teachers that came out at that time.
One of them is a master called Hermes Trismegistus.
No one really knows if this is a person or if this is a god or if this is a folklore. It's one of those things. The stories can pass down from generation to generation, they say, from teacher to student. And then, so that was for super many years. And the stories are that these people, this culture, they lived with philosophies and knowledge and basically truth and understanding of the universe, maybe more than anyone we've ever studied. And they had control, and they worked with things like alchemy, astrology, and magic. And so it was really something that was hidden and under the, not posting at, everywhere that they're teaching class, because those people were wanted, other people who didn't like what they taught wanted them to be removed. So this goes on down the ages, and then in the 1900s there starts the New Thought era, and a lot of philosophers are reading back to the ancient traditions and doing a reinterpretation for the masses to be able to understand the original works. At that time comes out this book called The Kabbalion, the study of Hermetic philosophy of the ancient Egyptians and Greeks. And it was publicized by a group called the Three Initiates. There's a lot of controversy about the book per se, and it's actually extremely hard to read, and there's a lot of portions of it that I don't necessarily resonate with, but the portions that I do resonate with are really wonderful, and so I pulled those out. And I have done some research because I was a little bit troubled, because the actual the 7 Hermetic Principles, they weren't actually written in the original text. They do have some original text, but I have read a lot of studies, and it does sound like that from the original text that was reinterpreted into these 7 principles. And I think they're an extremely amazing way to put all the universal laws into one package for understanding and for using. So the original Kabbalah basically has these axioms, which are like, I would say they're basically quotes, and then the theories are presented on them. And one of the quotes is, "The lips of wisdom are closed except to the ears of understanding," the Kabbalion. And so that is basically what is happening here. We're researching the knowledge and sharing it as the ears come. And so I just thank you for your presence, and I hope that helped you kind of understand where we're coming from. Next, I'm going to actually jump into the first of the principles, which is mentalism. And I actually find this the hardest to understand, and some of the material is really rough. And I actually have a YouTube video that kind of goes over it. And this is, if I were to summarize what I read in the book, this would be it. So it's short. So I'm going to share that, and then we'll continue. So let's see.
Please pause and watch the YouTube video link in the comments below. Thank you.
So basically, the principle of mentalism has a few main ideas. One of the main ideas is this concept of the all. And the all is basically everything you can possibly imagine, and then all the nothing that you could imagine. And it's all of it. It's everything you could ever possibly imagine, all it, right? And so they're basically saying that the all, it's undefinable, it's unknowable, it's so everything. And then one of the other concepts is basically you're focusing on what we experience as the human species and how we experience everything. Basically, one of the quotes is, everything changes. Matter, force, mental states, always becoming and changing. So as a human in my life experience, I see everything change. I see that everything has this impermanence where it goes and it becomes something and it breaks down and becomes something else and becomes something else again. You can see that in nature. So in this book, they take this big leap saying, because we can see that and because it is so magnificent and grandiose and perfect, how everything all perfectly fits together, that is proof that the all is basically what they're saying, because there's no way that all this could be working like clockwork and actually not be some part of some great design. And if there is a great design, obviously it would be created by the all, therefore that proves their theory. Personally, I think that's a big leap that my body is not able to take, because I always think about the law of randomness and chaos theory, and it can all be defined by that. So the good news is you don't necessarily have to believe any of that part to use the magic which is taught in these principles, which is the mental transmutation. The quote is, mind, as well as metals and elements, may be transmuted from state to state, degree to degree, condition to condition, pole to pole, vibration to vibration. True Hermetic transmutation is a mental art, the Kabbalion. So for me, that is it's like the gift and the amazingness and like the light. And I see that in nature. I see coal compress into a diamond, that happens. And so the whole gift of mental transmutation is all about stepping back, taking a deep breath, seeing it from a different perspective. And as we learn things like noticing when we go to the hot springs, that when we go from the really hot tub into the freezing cold tub and then back into the hot tub, and notice the contrast of what, whether that hot tub is hot, feels hot anymore. I don't know if that makes any sense. Has anyone ever felt those kind of sensations? I have a video that explains it in a really fun manner, and I'm going to share that with you right now. Okay, so this is a little portion from one of my favorite childhood movies. I actually remember when McDonald's released the free video with the Happy Meal, and it was this Puff the Magic Dragon video, which is one of the great examples of mind transmutation. So I'm going to go ahead and share this with you.
Please pause and watch the YouTube video link in the comments below. Thank you.
Okay, well, welcome back. I think right now is a great time to just check in. Does anybody have any questions in the material or something that they would like to share or anything? Okay. Oh, Carol does. Hold on.
Yeah, I was just thinking about what you mentioned earlier about the challenge with the mind. I get your point with this video, though. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. Once you've seen the reality, then your mind is changed and there's a door open to you. But with what you're saying earlier about the challenge of seeing everything, all that is, coming from a place of order, because of chaos theory, that if we can find both of those, because it's not either or, but the both and in those, I think it really opens a big door that then we aren't able to unsee. Having seen that there is both order and chaos, because when you look at like fractals and how you see fractals everywhere in nature.
So hold on a second. What's a fractal?
So it's when you can see the whole in the component part.
Okay.
And so, like, if you and they're repeated throughout nature. Like if you look at lungs, and then you look at a river delta, or even if you look in a microscope or at broccoli or what, you see that same pattern and you see it playing out. So it's large, but when you look at the small, you also see it. If you look at, well, like in that initial video, when you look at an eye, you may be looking at an eye and it looks just like some galaxies. If you look at neurons firing in the brain, it may look very much like something that you would see in space, in the cosmos. So I think you could see both and it might open that up a bit more. Yes. But I like that little video. It does. Once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Thank you. Thank you, Carol. And I know that the Pathanatic dragon is basically a simplification of an extremely complex process. I mean, us as humans, we have so many folds and different, we're like a pendulum or like a spinning thing of different energies, which each one's representing a different persona and characteristic of that which is self, and to actually, take one of those and connect with it in such a way to change it, to cause that our reality to be more pleasing to ourselves, is as involved as trying to figure out, a 1,000 million piece puzzle. And it's also as simple as taking a deep breath and feeling our energy and just knowing that it's all perfect and we don't have to understand it and we don't have to know it. And all we need to do is just play with it and just notice when we're focusing on something that makes us feel so horrible that our heart is racing and we are sweating and we can't breathe, and noticing when we're focused on something that's got us so excited that we want to shout and share it from the rooftops, and then looking around at whatever's in our vision right in front of us at several moments a day and saying, is this what I want to be putting into me all the time? And what are these causing? Is it causing me to feel good? And is it causing me to feel worse? And then just leaning into whatever, feels good on the heart. And so that's the short and the long of it as I see it. If you feel inspired, we do take donations. A portion does go to the fellowship for today, as they are sponsoring this class. Even though we're not in their building, we're in their building. And then here's a home fun experiment for you guys to do. You guys up for a meditation? Okay, Marty.
Yeah, I'd like to make a comment on a short one on the video of the cartoon. Actually, that was jam-packed with a lot of cool stuff. And I think we've all come across within ourselves and perhaps with others, folks that wanted to be pirates, kind of like put a little fear, a little power over others, you know? And how the little child was the one that kind of transformed where love and that vibration of fulfillment and joy surpassed all of that. Back in 1970, I was in Hawaii on the island of Kauai by a little town called Honolulu. Peter, Paul, and Mary, right? Puff the Magic Dragon, remember the song?
Yeah.
For anybody that goes back that far. So I got to Honolulu and I wondered, all of a sudden that song popped in my head and I asked a couple locals. And they go, yeah, that's the mushroom that grows around here. We call it the magic mushroom, Puff the Magic Mushroom. So it didn't take me long to figure out that there was a shift, a consciousness shift. And that's exactly what the pirate had, right? So I just wanted to, I like the symbolism of that nice little cartoon there. So yeah.
Yeah, there's a link in the document so you can watch the full video if you like to.
Okay.
There's a lot of magic in there, and we listen to that song all the time. I just love it.
Yeah, very good.
Okay, let's go ahead and sit up as straight as we can and close our eyes, take some deep breaths. I think one of the greatest ways to see mentalism at work is to use the power of our imagination and connect with all the flow and the energy around us. So for this time, I would like to envision white light surrounding you. You feel it like immerse you as you float through it, touching all your pores. You know it's so powerful, and the exchange of energy through the light is pulling out, floating away, all that no longer serves you. It just naturally floats away. And all this magical light pours into the opening, and you just smile. So I'd like you to take your hands, cross them over your heart, whichever way feels natural. Take some deep breaths. And just breathe into your heart. And pull into your imagination someone that you just miss so much, and you just long so much for their embrace, and you feel their embrace around your arms and around your back. And you breathe in a deep breath. You're so grateful for this breath together, this now, this moment that always is. And as you slowly remove your hands from your heart, you feel their embrace lighten. And yet you see from your hands to your heart a bright white cord connecting your heart to their heart. You feel this cord of connection. And as you put your hands back on your heart, you feel a deep gratitude for this cord of connection. You know, anytime you choose to connect with them, you can activate your cord and receive their great embrace. Go ahead and take your hands and shake your body and just do whatever you need to do to come back to this substantial reality. Is everybody back and good and ready? I'm going to go ahead and read a closing prayer, and we'll let everybody be free for the next week, and I'll see you guys next Tuesday.
The light of all surrounds us. The love of all enfolds us. The power of all watches over us. Wherever we are, all is, and that's the truth.